Happy Wednesday, everybody. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Is that audio working, everybody? I think it is. I know that nobody can sing as well as I can sing. What's up, Allison? You see me almost scratching my butt? I'm almost scratching my butt, guys. I'm almost scratching my butt. But it's the upper back. I got a little scratchy scratch on the upper back, and sometimes you got to do that. Now that we just first started, and I'm finally remembering, now that we just started, go on and click that like button if you can. Click the like button over there on YouTube and Facebook and Twitch and DLive and everywhere else. What's up, Allison and Laura? Allison and Laura over there hanging out on Instagram. What's up, guys? We're all hanging out on the Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday, Happy Wednesday. Wrestling Wednesday, y'all know how that goes. But we're getting ready to do the show. If you guys can do us a favor, go on and click the like button, all those other good things. And today was, oh my God. Too late, Laura, I already did. Today was, oh my God, crazy hot. Crazy hot all day long. And whenever I try to plan out these things, I try to plan out my days, and I try to make sure that I'm going to be the most productive that I can. I generally don't consider the temperature, because living in Baltimore, the temperature is not really that big of a deal. Today, though, felt very much like it was. It felt like it was, we were in Florida, and we were in Florida right in the middle of the summer. It was like 95 degrees today. Felt humid as hell. And then, of course, it just finished raining. Which cooled everything down, and then the sun came right back out, which is exactly what Florida used to do. All the damn time, that's all it would do. It would rain a little bit, and then the sun would come out and make everything hot. So it was just ridiculous. But it's all good. We're here. We've made it. We have made it. What is up, Georgian Gentry? How are you? Happy Wednesday. Sorry, guys. Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. Laura said over there on the Instagram said, but I noticed you missed the tree branch. LOL. I'm glad. I didn't even realize that I almost missed the tree branch. I was wondering what the hell you were talking about, a tree branch, but now I'm saying like it was the story. It's the stories where I was talking about running, doing the run earlier. And man, the Shred Shed sessions have been going really well. I've started bringing the GoPro back into the Shred Shed, so we'll be having some updates from the Shred Shed on the YouTube channel, and I might put them on Facebook as well. I don't know. We'll see how Facebook goes. I'm not quite sure if I should be putting my regular content on Facebook. I kind of like just putting the live streams on Facebook and then deal with it as you go, and then I'll build everything else up as we go. I forgot. I haven't even done a TikTok this week. See, I'm supposed to be doing 3 one-minute videos every week, and I haven't done one yet. Not one yet, but we'll see how that goes. Laura said, I can't stay, but please try to either text me with the number I gave you. Please either text me with the number I gave you or message me in the next 2 days to prep for Saturday. Right on. Got you, Laura. That sounds good. Stephanie, what's going on, Stephanie? How are you? Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Happy Wednesday. And we're just trying to get through our days to the best of our abilities, if we really can. But it's hard to. It's actually hard to. It's hard to do that whenever it's hot as hell out there. So, I woke up this morning and I was trying to get ready. From for my normal day, as you do whenever you're doing your normal day stuff. When you're in normal mode, you know how normal mode is. You know how I am in normal mode. I mean, I'm just always normaling it out there. But getting up early is one of my favorite things to do, but sometimes sleeping in is one of my favorite things to do. So I have this weird duality in my brain where I love getting up early because I love the productive days that I have. But then I love sleeping because, I mean, who doesn't love sleep? If you don't love sleep, I mean, who are you? What are you? How could you not be into sleep? As a human being, how could you not be into sleep? I think we're all into sleep at a certain extent, at a certain point. Stephanie said, just got home from the ER. I'm sorry, Stephanie. What's going on with that? Are you okay? Is everything okay with you? Hopefully you're doing okay. I hate to hear that. I do not like our people having too many problems. Let's see here. Oh, I got to go back now. Okay. I'm just double checking everything, making sure that we're all up and still running really well, and we're good. Okay, cool. Looks like we're good there. And we're good there. Cool. Awesome, guys. We're all still good to go, and not dropping any links. We're not dropping anything. We're good to go. Are you okay? Was that from the heat? What was that from? What were you dealing with to be dehydrated like that? That sucks that you had to go to the ER. I'm sorry. What's up, Patricia, over there on the IG? 100 Never 99. What's up, brother? How are you doing, man? How's everybody doing? We're here at the beginning of the show. If you guys can, make sure that you go on and click the like button over there on YouTube and Facebook, and click the share button if you feel so obliged. But we got the Dynamite Kid coming up today. I remember being the first time that I ever heard of Dynamite Kid. It was a WWE documentary talking about Chris Benoit and talking about where Chris Benoit got his inspiration. So then I went back and started watching a bunch of Dynamite Kid, and then I realized that Dynamite Kid was basically Chris Benoit took the exact way. Just like Ric Flair took a lot of the swagger that Buddy Rogers had, Chris Benoit pretty much did the same thing with Dynamite Kid. Hey, thank you, Jordane Gentry, for clicking that like. And I do appreciate it over there on the Facebook. We know you're over there on the Facebook because YouTube doesn't tell you. And I do appreciate you guys if you're doing it on YouTube. But I know that it's just one of those things that doesn't really it doesn't tell me. But it's just what it is. It is what it is, guys. It is what it is. I've tried to fix it, but there's not really much of a fix. I don't have the option for YouTube. So what can I do? What can I do? Not much. But Dynamite Kid was around for a while, in the 80s, early 90s. And he made a lot of his name in Japan. And his style, so he had a British wrestling style, but he also was very high-flying. He was very, very fast-paced, high-octane, hard-hitting wrestling, which is very much what Chris Benoit does. Chris Benoit's pretty much, or was pretty much the same type of wrestler. And Stephanie said, thanks, my potassium was really high yesterday, and today when I had blood work, so they sent me to the ER. Potassium was good there, but where I work, AC is out, and work a grill 6 hours a day, and I ended up being severely dehydrated. Yeah, if you're working a grill for 6 hours a day, you definitely have to make sure you either have some water on you, have some Gatorade on you, have something with some type of electrolytes that are going to help replenish everything that's being drained out of you, because you have a lot of sodium being drained out of you from your salty sweat when you're on the grill. So I'm sorry to hear that, Stephanie. I hate that you had to deal with it, but I'm glad that it seems like you're okay, and they say that everything is okay now, and hopefully you're going to be better. You're going to be better for it, and you'll be able to keep some water on you. Keep some water on you and stay on top of it, because that's the best that we can do. That's the best that we can do. I have it but can't keep it with me. And I don't catch a break to drink anything. Yeah, but you're gonna have to. That's the thing. You're gonna have to. You can't just go back and then do the same thing and then get sent back to the ER. You're gonna have to find a way to have some water on you and have this isn't no slave ship here. Like you should be able to take care of yourself, and you should be okay. You shouldn't be dying for your work. So yeah, I get it. Like you can't keep it on you, and obviously, but you definitely got to take your breaks, because nothing's worth that. Nothing's worth that. That is so frustrating to even hear, though, because I hate that people put these weird expectations on you, and then you kind of take on that responsibility, and then you feel guilty even though you're, like you're being, it's detrimental to your, it's literally detrimental to your health, and it's not good for you. So I hope, Stephanie, that you can at least have a conversation with somebody and say, hey, I went to the ER for this, and I need to have some type of water or Gatorade or something. I need to have something around because I went to the ER and I was dehydrated. And, I get one 15-minute break at 7 a.m. There you go. You get something, but I mean, you don't need a break just to intake some water or to intake some electrolytes, any type of electrolytes. So that's just that's frustrating, Stephanie. I'm sorry that you got to deal with that, but that's just part of the game. It seems like that's one of the things that you gotta deal with in life, especially whenever it gets hotter. Because I'm literally doing the same thing. I mean, not literally the same thing. It's not working or anything, but it was from earlier whenever I worked out at the shred shed. We got a really, really good workout. And then I still haven't got my run in for the day. So I went on and I had to get my run in because if I would have waited, I would have had to do my run right now. And then that's just pushing things later and later and later into the day. And now I'm realizing that things usually work best for me whenever I wake up early in the morning and I go for my run. The first thing that I do is I go for my run. And that's some of the best type of meditation that you can do, is go for a run and just be in your mind and just go. And I love the runs. I've been doing the runs for two years and some change now, almost every day, repeatedly. And I just love them. You get to the point to where it's your own meditation. It's your own form of meditation. But like I said in the video today, make sure that you keep your fluid on you whenever it's hot out there, because we don't want to be having any heat strokes. These heat strokes are no joke. Stephanie said, they know I did. Wasn't real happy when I turned in my excuse to stay out tomorrow. The life of working fast food, LOL. I've been drinking Body Armor since I left. Good. Body Armor will help. Yep, Body Armor will help. Yeah, and that's the thing. They know that you did, and they're still not happy because you had. That's not an excuse. That's an actual reason. Like, an excuse is, now that's an actual you have an actual reason not to show up, not to go to work, because you were dehydrated, because you could very easily could have had a heat stroke, especially when you're dehydrated like that. That's how heat strokes happen. So you have to keep the water on you. And I'm saying this coming from Florida, because Florida has the worst situations like that. You got to keep water on you during the winter time, let alone the damn summer, So, like, in Florida, we know, man, you got to keep that water on you, because we hear about people dying all the time. People die all the time from heat strokes. High school kids playing football, baseball, basketball, kids just outside playing. A lot of kids, because they're rambunctious. They have a lot of energy, So it's just one of those things. But yeah, Stephanie, hopefully you'll be able to get that figured out, because that's frustrating. That's very frustrating. Oh, I know. And the excuse was from the ER. She was upset because we're shorthanded right now. Yeah, but that's, yeah, we're shorthanded right now. Let me die to go in there and cook your burgers. Like, no, that's not even worth the risk. Not even worth the risk. All right, so we got old Thomas Billington. Old Thomas Billington, the Dynamite Kid. British professional wrestler trained by former Dr. Death Ted Betley. He competed in World Wrestling Entertainment, as you all know, Stampede Wrestling, All Japan Professional Wrestling, and New Japan Professional Wrestling, where he had his match with Tiger Mask. Or was it All Japan? I don't know. It was in Japan, though. But he had a big team with his cousin, Davey Boy Smith, which was the British Bulldogs, and they had a lot of feuds, and they had a lot of success as the British Bulldogs. So Dynamite Kid, you can look at Dynamite Kid, and then most people who are familiar with Chris Benoit would know that Chris Benoit and Dynamite Kid look very similar. Why do they look so similar? They have, like, the same body type, and it makes you wonder that, let's see here. I did create a poll, so I want to see if you guys had any results in the poll so far. So far, people have picked out Benoit instead of Dynamite Kid, and I think I would go with Benoit too. But I didn't grow up with Dynamite though. That's my problem. I didn't grow up with Dynamite, so that's just part of it. I wasn't a huge fan, not really into him because didn't really know him. Now, as I got older, I went back and I started studying a little bit of Dynamite Kid stuff, and then I realized how good he really was, and I felt like I was missing out. So I went back and I had to watch Tiger Mask versus Dynamite Kid. And Tiger Mask versus Dynamite Kid is one of the most insane matches that you're going to see because it's super, super, super high quality professional wrestling, but then they add in the high flying aspects, but the high flying aspects are added in so well that it looks so realistic where it doesn't make it hard for you to suspend your disbelief. It makes it very easy for you to just relax. Like we were talking about yesterday, Fast 9. Oh man, you can't even focus on that shit. That shit's all over the damn place, and you can't even focus because it's ridiculous. It's kind of like that. But it's better in a sense because it's more realistic. It's more believable. Tiger Mask versus Dynamite Kid. But the moves that they did, the dynamic ways that they went into different spots, and the way that they told their story, it's crazy. Because in the Dark Side of the Ring documentary where they were talking about Dynamite Kid, later when he got older and he couldn't move anymore, there was a lady and she sat down and maybe it was his daughter, and they sat down and watched some of his old matches, and one of his old match that he was watching was him and Tiger Mask. Him and Tiger Mask were having their scrap, and that match is so legendary that everybody. So it doesn't surprise me that Dynamite was that big of a fan of it because I was like everybody had to just rewatch it and like keep understanding that like this is. Things changed here, boys. Things changed here. This is a different type of match. And it's so high quality and it's so high level and they're so damn good. It's crazy. It's crazy how good they were. Well, the way that, like, I don't know if it was just how good both of them were as individuals or if it's just how good them two were together. Because them two together, it's crazy. It's crazy how like the sometimes you have charisma and you connect with people better and you connect with people differently than others. So that's always a fun one to talk about. But the big thing about Dynamite Kid is they started showing some of his stuff from the beginning, and you got to follow him throughout his career. And then you see the way that he works his matches. He works his matches very much in the same vein as Chris Benoit. Very hard hitting, very tight, very technical, and very on to the point. And it's very hard to know that. Cena fan said, Bret Hart and Dynamite Kid, Capitol Center, September 14th, 1985. I'll have to check out Bret Hart versus Dynamite Kid. I haven't seen that one. And I heard that was a legendary feud as well. So I definitely have to check that one out. But poor Dynamite. So he did the diving headbutt. And the diving headbutt was created by Harley Race. Harley Race was one of the most old school... Not the most old school, but he was a very old school mentality type of wrestler, which nowadays old school is kind of like bullshitted out of the meaning of what old school is. But old school in that sense was less high spots, more actual wrestling itself. Thank you, Karen McDaniel, for the like. Thank you so much for the like. And if you guys can, go on and click that like button for the page, and we can continue on getting this stuff up in people's algorithms. So thank you, Karen McDaniel, for that. But Dynamite Kid started using Harley Race's move, and Harley Race was doing the diving headbutt. But Harley Race would stand up onto the top rope, spread its arms out, and fall down, boom, and do the head. And now if you think about it, your body is up on the top rope, you're falling down, and then boom, you're crashing. Think about your head. Think about like you have to, you're whiplashing your head and neck. Every single time you do that move and you're jumping from the top rope, and this is a fucking car crash, guys. Every time you see a wrestler bump, it's not a trampoline. That's what drives me crazy. That drives me more crazy. You can call it all fake all day. But then as soon as you call that ring a trampoline, I'm going to tell you to fuck the fuck off. And you do not know what you're talking about. Because that shit, that's a ring, man. That's a wrestling ring. It's a wrestling ring. Sometimes it's a boxing ring. And it's hard to wrestle in a boxing ring. That will destroy your body a lot faster. But it all destroys your body. It all destroys your body. So you have to cater yourself and your work rate and your work style to your own health. But most young men don't do that. Most young women don't do that. They just want to make a name for themselves. And they want to try to get as many people fucking psyched up and hyped up for their shit as they can. And in order to do that, you're going to kind of start to head down the Dynamite Kid, Chris Benoit, Mick Foley route, where it's the self-harm route, and it's not necessarily the safest route. A lot of times, the safest route is looked down upon because a lot of the younger wrestlers think that it's boring. But they're not necessarily understanding the point of it. So like whenever we have all these tools in wrestling to be able to do whatever we can and whatever we want to with them. But if the audience, it all depends on how the audience cares about you. If they do not care about you, you're going to have to do some more stuff, and you're going to have to escalate and escalate and escalate. But if you're lucky enough to find a way to connect with the audience for them to actually care about you as a person, there's a lot less that you have to do because they are ingrained in your struggle because they are living vicariously through you in that match. That's how we do it. When we watch sports, we vicariously put ourselves into that person, and then we understand the sport. It's the same thing in most movies, most things like that. That's how we perceive the world. It's how we perceive things. We have to put ourselves in that position to understand. So when you get to that point, that's all great, and all the tools really work. But all the tools do not work unless people actually care about you. And that's that dichotomy where wrestlers are like, oh, man, these old school tricks don't work. It's bullshit. They do work, but you're not over. Once you get over, then they'll work. But if you just do them and then you assume that people are supposed to care about you, it's not going to work. And it doesn't work. And, you know, trust me, I've learned the hard way a lot of times. Cena fan said the British Bulldogs versus the Hart Foundation for the WWE Tag Team Championship, Saturday night's main event. That's another good one. Chris Benoit used the diving headbutt. Yes, exactly. That's what I'm saying. I've been a fan of wrestling my whole life. Good Cena fan. Good. Karen McDaniel said, correct. More wrestling, less high spots. Land, they don't know where they're talking about. A trampoline, LOL. Yeah, they do not know. Like, that trampoline shit is just enough to drive you absolutely bonkers because that's not it at all. That's not it at all. It is not a trampoline. That shit hurts. That shit hurts. And that's just part of it. That's just part of it, you know? You guys like my Eddie Guerrero shirt? Still brand new. Still brand new. Only I bought it in 2006 when he died. Or 2005 when he died. Still brand new, though. Because I ain't never wore it. I figured tonight would be a fun one. I'd wear it for a wrestling show. All right, guys. It's that time. We're 30 minutes in. IHTP. I will be RB. IHTP, BRB, and we'll continue on with Dynamite Kid. Here we go. You know we lost Chris Romero, Youngblood, today. Oh, no. Good friend. I'm so sorry, Karen McDaniel. That sucks. Youngblood has passed away today, and that sucks. I hate to hear that. And also, we've seen a lot of news with Terry Funk, and we'll talk about that after I finish up with the documentary. But the Harley race doing the diving headbutt, and then you see like how hard that diving headbutt is on your body, how hard it is on your body, and on your neck and your vertebrae and all that other good stuff. It's crazy how hard it is on you. And the Harley race invented it. That was his thing he was doing. But then Dynamite Kid took it and then amplified it a little bit more, because not only did he get onto that top rope, he jumped and flew. He flew, and that was where Chris Benoit got that move. Chris Benoit got that move from Dynamite Kid. Dynamite Kid caught it from Harley Race. You see the lineage there? Now, with everything that happened, and hopefully that you guys are aware of what happened with Dynamite Kid. He was in a wheelchair at the end of his life, and he passed away in, I think, 2018. He had a hard time. He had a hard time living. He had a hard time at the end of his life. And Harley Race did say that he regretted inventing the diving headbutt, because he felt that was what was so detrimental to Dynamite Kid's life that he regretted even coming up with the move. And it sucks, because back then those guys wrestled all the damn time, and you have to try to protect your body, man, because your body, you only get one. We only live once, y'all. We only live once. Oh, man. That Tiger Mask stuff, guys, I say definitely go back and watch Dynamite Kid and Tiger Mask, and then definitely go back and watch Dynamite Kid versus Bret Hart. And there's one Bret Hart match that I haven't seen, but I know that they had like a crazy intense feud, and their feud was pretty badass. Their feud was badass. But now think of the parallel situations that they had here, because that style of wrestling that Dynamite Kid was doing turned into that style of wrestling that Chris Benoit was doing. And it's crazy, because Dynamite Kid didn't end up murdering his family like Chris Benoit. I couldn't think of a lighter, easier, softer way to say that. But he murdered his family. Dynamite Kid didn't do that, but if you watch the documentary, you'll see points where he seems to be losing grip on himself. You'll see where he loses his temper at weird things. He does some weird jokes, plays some weird jokes on people, but they're like mean jokes. A lot of things where you can see that he obviously did, like his personality did change. You can see a personality change in him and throughout it. And maybe Chris Benoit, you couldn't see quite that much of a difference, because he probably already had some of the mental issues on top of it. At least that's what it seems, that his family did have some hereditary stuff already, so that might be why Chris Benoit got a little bit harder of the burden. But Dynamite Kid definitely didn't get out of it unscathed. Dynamite Kid continuously had to keep getting different surgeries because his lower body was giving out on him, and he kept building up scar tissue. He kept building up scar tissue until finally they just couldn't operate anymore. They couldn't operate anymore. They had to call it a day. They had to call it a day and tell him, like, look, man, this isn't going to work anymore. We can't go in and fix it. It's too bad. So he lost the feeling in one of his legs. He couldn't use the use of his leg, and he tried to have a connection with his family, but his wife didn't quite understand it. But she understood it now, and this was one of the most poignant points that I enjoyed from the documentary. And it sucks that he passed away, but it's cool that his wife and children were able to understand a little bit. So his wife said that she used to be frustrated with him because he would want to share his wrestling with his daughters so much all the time. And he was so much about, like, here's my wrestling, that type of stuff. But she realized that, you know, when she was younger, she was frustrated with it. But then later, she realized that that was what he had. That was all he had. He's a wrestler, and that was all he had. So he was giving them everything that he had. Everything that he had. So it was a very, very sad point, because it helped them realize that, yeah, he's a wrestler, and he that's his livelihood. That's his life. So, of course, wrestling's going to be a big part of it, and he wants to share in that with you because it's such a giant part of his life. It doesn't seem like it's that serious to most people, because most people are just casual fans. But if you don't know an actual wrestler who lives it and does it for a living and does it that often, you don't quite understand how much it takes just to even do it, because you think that, oh, they're just fake fighting. There's so much more to it than any of that horse shit. There's so much more to it. There's a lineage to this. There's a psychology to it. There's things that you have to learn in order to get good at it. And there's some tried and true things that you can do that are either going to get you better or worse at it. So the ending of that documentary really had me kind of tearing up, because I was like, wow, like it's beautiful, because his wife or his ex-wife, whatever, finally understood that he wasn't trying to push wrestling onto anybody. That he's a wrestler. He's a wrestler. So that was just what he was. And later, whenever they accepted it, and they were like, yeah, he was just giving us everything that he had, and that's what he had. That's fucking beautiful. It's so beautiful, because he really cared. He really cared. He just didn't know how to show it that way, you know? And some people aren't, like, some dudes aren't raised with affection. So you got to learn that shit. That's another thing. Affection's something that you have to learn too, you know? Thank you, Christopher Barclough. Where have you been, Christopher Barclough? Getting that like in there. Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate it. Christopher Barclough has liked the stream. Crazy documentary, though. I say definitely check it out, guys. I think that y'all should watch it. I think that Dark Side of the Ring does a good job with their shows. I wouldn't believe everything in the documentaries, but I wouldn't believe anything in any documentary, let alone a pro wrestling documentary. That's why I like the China documentary was funny, because, yeah, it painted her in a good light, and it had her a little bit more positive, seeming more positive than what you would normally think. And then I read an interview with the director of it, and the director of the China documentary was talking about how she did her best to put in, like, the brightest spots and the most positive things that she could, because there was a lot of darkness. So, you know, China had a lot of problems, and I don't think that it was just the WWE and Stephanie McMahon and Triple H. I don't think that was just it. I think that it was probably a little bit deeper than that. Cena fan, this could have been an awesome match. Chris Benoit versus Dynamite Kid. Christopher Barclough, Chris Benoit versus Dynamite Kid would be an awesome match. Looks like both of y'all is the same. Thank you, Christopher Barclough, for liking the page. But yes, I think that Chris Benoit versus Dynamite Kid would be an awesome match. That would be a crazy match to see. It's just unfortunate because we never got the opportunity to see it. And that's just part of it. That's just part of the game. Sometimes people die and you can't see them. You can't see them like you wish that you could see them. And while we're on the subject of older wrestlers, the news came out that Terry Funk is living in an assisted home. He has dementia, and he's not doing very well. And I remember going back to his Twitter and seeing some of his recent videos of him kind of promoting some things here or there, and I felt, man, it's crazy, because that's not Terry Funk that I know. But we're all gonna get old. We're all gonna age. We're all gonna not look like we used to, and then we're gonna lose our minds. Eventually, you're gonna lose your mind unless you die. But I just hate the idea that Terry Funk's not even gonna know who he is anymore. But that sounds like how Terry Funk would go out. Terry Funk would go out crazy as shit. He was crazy as shit. He was a crazy ass wrestler, man. Watching him try to put a bag over Ric Flair's head and then try to suffocate him. Oh my God, it had me so excited because I was like, oh no, he's gonna get him. He's actually gonna try to kill him. He's trying to kill him. Terry Funk was the man, forever, 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 forever. How do you not love Terry Funk or Chainsaw Charlie? Laura said, such a nice man, but you're right. Sad to see anyone like that. It is sad. It sucks. It sucks. It sucks. Christopher Barclough, China had drug problems and Sean Waltman. Right. She had her own drug problems, and then she had Sean Waltman, which was its own problem in itself. And then Christopher also said, Terry Funk is the craziest wrestler of all time. Yeah, I think so. I remember listening to a wrestler talk about wrestling Terry Funk, and he was like, you never knew what you were going to get, man. You go out there, and you give him a punch, he might take the punch, run outside, and then run around the whole goddamn arena, and then come back and be like, all right, let's finish. He was crazy. You couldn't predict what he was going to do. So, you know, a lot of times, guys like that, a lot of those types of guys might be like Nietzsche. He might be such a genius, he can't even handle his genius, so he goes crazy. He loses it. You know? Terry Funk, former NWA champion and ECW world champion, which was fucking awesome to see. So awesome to see. Terry Funk was still out there getting in ECW. And he was in his, late 50s at that point? Late 50s, maybe early 40s? Late 50s, early 40s? Early 40s, whatever, you know. But that's just how it goes, man. That's just how it goes. We all get old. We all have to deal with our things. Cactus Jack versus Terry Funk in Japan hardcore wrestling. That's always fun. Cactus Jack and Terry Funk is always good. Always good. And that's why I like seeing Cactus Jack and Chainsaw Charlie come back. I wish he was Terry Funk in the WWF, but Terry Funk does what he wants to, and he wanted to be something different. For the new fans who wasn't familiar. Because whenever he came out as Chainsaw Charlie, I didn't know. I heard about Terry Funk, but I wasn't sure. I wasn't too sure about Terry Funk. So it was hard to say. Good old Terry Funk. So our thoughts are with you, Terry Funk. I think that you guys definitely should go out and check out the Dark Side of the Ring episode with old Dynamite Kid. And also, there's a Lex Luger documentary coming out, so I'm going to watch that one, and we'll talk about that one. I'll figure out what we're going to talk about next week. I may do some like total show breakdowns, and then I can take some notes on the shows, and then we can talk about those. And then I can put a poll up so that we can talk about it and figure out like which ones we want to do in the future. For the next, maybe I can start a poll, and we can start asking people like, what do you want to talk about for Wednesday stream? Is it going to be do you want to talk about WrestleMania 15 or any of those other ones? Laura, thank you for the like over there on Facebook. Beautiful, right here at the end of the show. I appreciate it. I love it. I love you all support. Thank you all. We got a short episode today. But we're going to get back at it. Christopher Barclough, while we're finishing up, said, at WrestleMania 14 Fleet Center, Boston, Massachusetts, Chainsaw Charlie and Cactus Jack defeated the New Age Outlaws in a dumpster match for the World Wrestling Federation Tag Team Championships. And then, after that, the New Age Outlaws proceeded to throw Chainsaw Charlie and Cactus Jack off of the rampway. Laura said, 3 days, so excited. Do you feel ready? Do you prep differently for different opponents? We'll talk about that later, Laura. I hope you all have a great night and you all have a good night. This was an awesome show. This was a blast. I love you all. Thank you all for the support. I love you. You all have a good night. Peace.